And one of the recent crazier pushes has been that we ought to feel bad for people that are breaking the law. We should understand why they have to break the law.
A Cook County court has reversed some of Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard's decisions. At last night's village board meeting, Henyard announced a 30-day temporary appointments for police chief, village attorney, special counsel, and executive assistant.
They get right back to work trying to make people feel sad for people that are going to be victimized by law and order.
In a ferocious reaction, political analyst Candace Owens has allegedly attacked Mayor Tiffany Henyard of Dalton, Illinois, claiming that she engages in blackmailing her own citizens in order to keep power. In a recent online segment, Owens, who is well known for her candid criticism of many political personalities, attacked Henyard, accusing her of corruption and unethical behavior that has left Dalton locals feeling silenced and confined. Owens was unreserved in her critique, revealing what she calls Henyard untrustworthy methods and deceptive conduct directed at individuals who question her leadership.
So this is what happens everywhere in the entire world when your parents break the law. It's actually quite audacious to be willing to appear on camera and to ask for sympathy after your parents have.
According to Owens, Henyard has been blackmailing and pressuring residents by threatening to withhold municipal services or support unless they support her leadership decisions or refrain from publicly criticizing her. Owens specifically called out Henyard's alleged use of intimidation tactics to silence critics and manipulate residents. In her criticism, Owens asserted that Henyard techniques represent a significant ethical failure and go much beyond political scheming, being more akin to the abuse of power. Owens cited recent accounts from members of the Dalton community who said they were under pressure to remain silent about problems inside the administration or were even given incentives to ignore potential misappropriations. A leader who feels the need to blackmail her supporters is not a leader at all, according to Owens, who denounced Henyard's purported strategy. Mayor Henyard has been embroiled in scandal before, with accusations of corruption and lawsuits against her administration mounting. According to Owens, her leadership in Dalton has frequently come under fire. These conflicts indicate a larger pattern of misbehavior. According to Owens, Tiffany Henyard has repeatedly demonstrated her willingness to transgress moral boundaries in order to hold on to her position of authority. 225.
Court today, a judge ruled Henyard's appointment of Michael Smith as executive assistant was not valid. The special counsel appointment was also invalidated. This is part of the ongoing tug-of-war between Henyard and board members. She appeared for that hearing via Zoom.
Henyard administration has allegedly used intimidation techniques and tried to marginalize anyone who challenges her authority or motivations in her remarks, according to Dalton trustees and community leaders. Owens was indignant about the apparent oversight in Henyard's administration. She chastised local authorities for failing to act quickly to look into Henyard's alleged extortion techniques and urged the people of Dalton to resist what she called local tyranny. Owens demanded a probe right now and cautioned that if the charges are validated, there may be severe legal ramifications. The people of Dalton need answers and leaders that work for them, not against them. This corruption must be eradicated. Furthermore, many Dalton citizens have found resonance in Owens' scathing criticism. Some feel empowered to criticize the Henyard's administration, while others contend that Owens' remarks are excessively harsh or devoid of adequate evidence. Henyard's supporters argue that the mayor has been unfairly criticized for implementing strict restrictions.
Fireworks in south suburban Dalton at the village board meeting tonight. Embattled Mayor Tiffany Henyard spoke out after public comments addressing respect in the meeting.
You have to give respect and word of peace. A lot of you come to this mic talking about nothing. And when I say nothing, you're talking about Tiffany Henyard. So that means that you really are fans of mine, and I appreciate that, because normally you will come up here and you'll talk about the business as relates to our village, but not one of you talk about any business that it relates.
However, Owens' remarks validate the grievances of individuals who have felt overlooked or under pressure by the Henyard administration. Reactions on social media swiftly broke out, with many locals demanding an impartial inquiry to address the claims. In order to promote accountability and openness, some locals even advise that Henyard tilt down. With claims of blackmail circulating and the additional scrutiny of a well-known commentator, Candace Owens' explosive remarks exacerbate an already tense political environment in Dalton. The administration is expected to experience increased public and media pressure in the weeks ahead.
Congratulations again. This is me saying it publicly to our new president of the United States. Just like Trump, I'm going to come in on a landslide on both seats. Know that. Remember this moment when I landslide and come in for the victory.
Naturally, reactions to the 47th president are flooding in from all directions, including the usual political criticism and responses. About an hour ago, Henyard posted her opinions on the subject online. I'd like to offer her remark here before we examine it in more detail. Congratulations, Henyard said. She added to her supporters, let's work together and put our differences aside. Don't worry, we're going to get back to that sentence. President Trump, you are now the 47th president. You have made history by returning and winning the presidency of the United States. What a big comeback. Since Trump is now our president, we need to work together to overcome our differences and concentrate on what comes next. Okay, this is crazy, but let's talk about Tiffany Henyard's post. She is as bold as ever, congratulating President Trump on social media in a loud and ostentatious manner, practically stumbling over herself to pray and praise him. She is also talking about unity, teamwork, and letting go of the past, as if we should all forget her past behavior. Suddenly, she is all about cooperation and putting aside differences. Henyard appointed President Trump as Thorne Township's supervisor and mayor. I would like to meet with you to discuss the residents of Thorne Township. I have a lot of great ideas and believe that we could work together for the greater good. With that being said, let's make America great again. I also sent you a message, check your inbox. This is quite remarkable. Typically, when either Democrats or Republicans lose an election, they issue a formal, often dry congratulatory post mentioning unity, but without much enthusiasm this time. Though Trump dominated the election in a way I didn't expect, I genuinely thought it would be a close race, one where the results might be unclear for days. But by 2-0, Mending had already announced his win, which was honestly shocking to me. His dominance was beyond what anyone anticipated, especially with Kamala Harris as the opposition. Let's be real here, she was a particularly weak candidate, and even many on the Democratic side would agree. It's no surprise that some hardcore Democrats are upset, but the truth is Kamala didn't have the strength to pull through. Now Tiffany Henyard is stepping up, telling Trump, I'm here ready to support you. Congratulations, you did it. Let's dive into why she made that move. For anyone familiar with her past in Dalton Township, this whole unity act is as flimsy as it gets. Just think about it. Where was this dedication to unity when dealing with her own trustees back in Dalton? When was the last time that town and Thornton Township actually held a truly productive meeting? Either people are meeting separately and leaving early, or the mayor doesn't even show up. Today there is a meeting at the Park District. Will Tiffany attend, or will she just stir up more issues? Tiffany champions unity when it suits her, when it improves her image, or when there is something on the line, like of why her approach to cooperation seems to be agree with me or leave, which is why she is the target of numerous lawsuits. If someone doesn't agree with her, she seems to go out of her way to make their life difficult. She is also known for stifling any dissent. Unity is unlikely because Tiffany can't even bear the thought of sitting in the same room as her own trustees if they dare to, do their jobs, especially if it means challenging her. She's throwing Trump in his direction in a desperate manner, and I don't remember her saying anything positive about him until she realizes she might be in a difficult situation. It would be interesting to verify her recent remarks if someone could. It seems like she is a Democrat until she says, wait, I might need this guy. The timing of this post really sums it up. She is being investigated by the federal government and may be charged with a crime. And all of a sudden she is talking about working together with President Trump. Come on, she's almost saying, look at me, Mr. Trump. I agree that she is aware of Trump's penchant for praise and is likely trying to project an image of loyalty in the hopes that he would view her as more than simply another Democratic mayor.
A Cook County court has reversed some of Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard's decisions. At last night's village board meeting, Henyard announced a 30-day temporary appointments for police chief, village attorney, special counsel, and executive.
She may dislike openness, but it's obvious that she's looking for any help she can get and is depending on Trump's ego to be big enough to recognize her. The true irony, though, is in her claims of working with Trump. We can't ignore the fact that Tiffany Henyard, who can't even get along with her own trustees, has a leadership style that is anything but cooperative. Those who followed her know that she runs a one-person show and confronts anyone who dares to disagree. As a result, when she talks about finding common ground with Trump or reaching across the aisle, it comes across as utterly insincere. It's like she's donning a costume for social media, banking on everyone being too distracted to remember her actual approach back home. Tiffany's loyalty appears to be with herself first and foremost. She likely thinks that if she ever gets into trouble, say a federal indictment, aligning with him could lead to a possible pardon later on. She was all in for Biden singing his praises, but now that Biden's influence is waning, she's changing course and suddenly she's cozying up to Trump. This is probably a calculated move, hedging her bets, thinking that a few kind words about him on social media might come in handy if she needs him later. She's waving a unity flag, but it's only to catch Trump's attention in the hopes that he'll throw her a lifeline if things get tough. Anyone paying close attention can see that it's not a sincere request for cooperation. Rather, it's a last-dot attempt by a politician on unstable footing, hoping that some well-placed flattery might save him.
Well, there is more high drama in the village of Dalton tonight, where embattled Mayor Tiffany Henyard is trying to get down to business.
That includes spending issues and a controversial move to try to appoint a police chief. NBC5's Randy Gyllenhaal with our story tonight.
If you were hoping for anything like order, democracy, or even a basic public forum, you were sorely mistaken from the beginning. It was obvious that this was going to spiral into chaos, so let's dive into the madness that unfolded during this debacle. Supervisor Tiffany Henyard was acting as the misguided ringleader, and the rest of the participants were just spectators. In what could have easily been a scene from a middle school drama, Henyard went to great lengths to prevent Carlisle from entering the meeting, effectively shutting her out and making sure the experience was as painful as possible. Henyard faces security and pricing issues, but instead of reevaluating the cost, he chose to keep him around. Henyard values loyalty, and Carlisle, one of her most loyal allies, has earned a place despite the problems. However, that's not how she sees this. She sees it as a chance to take charge, even if it means silencing someone who represents the township. Keith Price, an elected trustee, on the other hand, has no such authority, so Henyard is stepping up her message that if you're not with her, be ready to be sidelined. This isn't true leadership. It's just more of the petty behavior we've come to. As you can see later in the film, she turns the entire conversation into her own echo chamber and spends a significant amount of time shouting her own praises. Trustee Gonzalez decided to leave rather than put up with what he perceived to be a chaotic board meeting that Henyard was trying to pass off as productive. Instead, she took advantage of the situation to emphasize her own ego and avoid acknowledging the frustration of her coworkers. Instead, she turned Gonzalez's departure into yet another alleged personal attack, positioning herself as the only person standing up for the interests of the people. The forensic audit has been talked about by everyone, but the truth is that we had authorized one for Thorndon Township. Regrettably, it was blocked by Chris Gonzalez. It's crucial for you to know that this audit was conducted exclusively for the credit card used by trustees Keith Freeman and Carlisle, and that the company it would conduct it is currently up for approval. Additionally, the IT department should be held accountable for Gonzalez's disgraceful departure. When election season comes around, remember how he treated Carlisle and how he attempted to portray Gonzalez as someone who abandoned the community in order to avoid his obligations. The truth is that Gonzalez had had enough of being a part of Henyard's dictatorship and the chaos it brought. Robert's Rules of Order were supposed to serve as the foundation of any public meeting, guaranteeing fair discussion and that all voices are heard. But under Henyard's leadership, it seems as though she skimmed through them, tossed them aside, and decided to improvise. It's unclear if she does even read them. Every time a motion is presented, Henyard either blocks it outright or steamrolls through it without allowing any debate, depending on how it fits her agenda. If she doesn't like a motion, she just ignores it. If she supports it, she pushes it through as though she is the only authority, expecting everyone to follow her.
All right, guys, you're not gonna get a statement if you're out of order. Simple as that. So, okay, it's over with. Y'all can have a seat. Let me finish my meeting.
Henyard went on a tirade, and if you've heard her talk for a while, you're probably familiar with the routine. For almost an hour, it was more about her unfiltered reality TV-style tirade about being the only one who genuinely cares while everyone else is only interested in themselves, stealing, exploiting, you name it. It seemed as though she was attempting to position herself as the misunderstood hero in a political drama that promoted the story of the lone fighter. Despite the fact that the $2.2 million tax fund she is approving for Thornton homeowners is funded by taxpayer money that originally belonged to the people, she presents it as though she is personally taking money out of her own pockets to fund it as she launches into her monologue. This is a political ploy to ensure her re-election. She goes even farther, accusing anyone who left the meeting or voiced disagreement as belonging to an unidentified hate group or causing chaos. She claims that these people are the ones causing trouble, but it's her behavior that makes these gatherings chaotic, whether it's about adult issues or the township. People are simply fed up with her antics. The community didn't sign up for this. They want real leadership, not a supervisor who treats every disagreement as a personal attack. As for Trustee Corral, it's unclear what steps she'll take, but she must fulfill her duties as a trustee. Her long list of purported accomplishments reads more like a blame game as she places everyone under the bus, board members, residents, and even the media, accusing them of making Doden Township look bad. She's in charge, but when she doesn't assigning blame, she's playing the victim. Keith Price is the one who has supported Tiffany Henyard through all of the difficulties. Meanwhile, the mayor's criticism from Candace Owens, the political dynamics in Dalton, Illinois, are critically analyzed by Tiffany Henyard, who highlights alleged instances of power abuse, intimidation, and manipulation under Henyard's leadership. Owens characterizes Henyard's strategy as one that places a premium on control over democratic processes, accusing her of threatening residents with withheld services in order to silence dissent. The remark suggests that Henyard's recent public cooperation efforts, particularly her overt backing of Trump, are more about self-preservation in the face of possible legal issues than they are about true unity. Owens' critical examination appeals to broader public issues that Dalton locals are feeling as they are irritated by claims of corruption and a lack of openness in local government. Critics view her public support of Trump as opportunistic, with the intention of using Trump's backing to strengthen her own position, particularly in light of the continuing federal investigation. Owens' claim that Henyard's actions demonstrate a self-centered loyalty shifting alliances based on political expediency rather than principle is supported by this. If Owens' charges are accurate, the study here highlights the intricate relationship between local politics and individual leadership styles, indicating the urgent need for responsibility and reform in Dalton, with community voices calling for an investigation and openness. As this tale develops, the reaction of Dalton's officials and citizens may spark a broader discussion about the value of moral leadership and the perils of unbridled authority. Maybe that concludes today's video. Stay tuned and we'll see you in the next one. Define the town's political environment for years to come by either strengthening Henyard's hold on power or igniting a movement for democratic reform and accountability.